At the outset, I welcome all to this webinar. To start with, introduction of computed tomography is one of the most important advancement in diagnostic imaging in veterinary sector. In developed world, veterinarians from imaging field talk of third and fourth generation CT, micro CT and 3D constructions. CT is introduced in veterinary medicine in 1980 in canines, and I am sure this CT will gain rapid foothold in India in near future. Dr. Arun Prasad choice of this topic for today's webinar is apt and relevant to the current needs of our profession. Dr. A. Arun Prasad is Professor Veterinary Surgery and Radiology, heading Resident Veterinary Services Section, Madras Veterinary College, Chennai. He is a multifaceted personality, deft in handling hip-related surgical condition in dogs, tendon regeneration in horses, and now CT interpretation. He has undergone training in regenerative medicine at USA, and most important is CT interpretational skill training at Washington State University, US. I think many academic surgeons and private practitioners with interest in imaging look at him to update their basic interpretational skills in this webinar. I wish him to be torchbearer for the whole nation as far as CT skills are concerned, and confident about optimum utilization of existing CT units in India and its rapid addition in near future. Dr. Arun Prasad, please.
So thank you for your words, sir. I take it as a tribute from you. Thank you very much. So, shall we proceed on the? Nothing, Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. Shall I start?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. So very good evening to the fraternity of surgery and also the practitioners and the veterinarians. I am glad to be presenting this topic to you, which is an need for this hour. So everyone now goes for advanced imaging modalities apart from the X-ray and you have ultrasonography. So the advantage of using advantage of CTs over the other X-rays can manipulate the data into various views without any taking additional images as compared to the X-ray. Suppose if you need, we need to take it at the different angles. So this CT will help you to get a single shot of image which can be manipulated, and you can see the part and part of the images. And you can able to selectively enhance or remove some of the parts. Suppose if I want to see only the bony structure, I can remove the soft tissue, or if I need only the soft tissue, I can cancel or remove all the soft bones. And if I want to go for vessels, I can remove the things and can I make 3D views, 3D images also by reconstruction. Okay. And also, since the CT is done on anesthesia or under deep sedation, so there is the movement of the during breathing will be reduced, so which gives a very good image compared to the X-rays. And also we can able to optimize intravenous contrast while taking the CT. the disadvantage, okay, you may be asking what's, okay, so these are the advantages, but disadvantage is this produces lot of X-rays or radiation. So compared to, as they say, tell that you can, it is one CT of thorax is equal to 350 X-rays. Then one CT of abdomen is equal to 450 X-rays. And if you are going to go angiogram, then it is more than 750 X-rays. So the thing is, there is a more radiation compared to the X-rays, so which gives a disadvantage of this. And when compared to the MRI, so this CT has an advantage that it can be done within 15 to 20 minutes. The whole procedure can be done. Whereas if you are going to compare with the MRI, then it takes 1.5, depending on the structures or the area. This depends on how much area you are going to make it, and this one. And number two advantage over MRI of the CT is, so this is comparatively the cost is lower. You can, the maintenance cost of the machine as well as the cost of taking CT is comparatively lower than the MRI. If you are going for MRI, it may cost around 5,000, 10,000, depending on the area you are being, and the CT costs around 1,500 or 2,000 rupees. So which will be helpful to make a decision. So if they are affordable, then you can go for CT. So this is the just introduction of what is the advantages of CT. The next we will go for basic terminologies instead of just going in. So what is the structure present? So there are three planes to actually take it as the transaxial, otherwise transverse plane. So where you have the, so this is transverse plane. So where from cranial to caudal, if I am going to slice from the cranial to caudal, that is transaxial or transverse plane. So from like it is cutting over here like this from the head to tail. Then if you are going, it's a sagittal plane. So sagittal plane is nothing but off right to left or left to right, or you can in median, or you can able to from the median also you can, or otherwise we call it as median plane also. If you are going to come from the median to the lateral, or median to the left side or median to the right side. So that is called the sagittal planes. Then this is these are the views or what you can able to see here. So this is the sagittal plane. You can able to see like an X-ray. You can able to slice each part of the body from the right to left, right to left. So this is from the cranial to caudal, where you can able to slice and you can see the things. And the other view is the dorsal plane, this one. So where you are going to slice from the top to bottom, that is from the spine to the ventral bottom or the abdomen. So you are going to slice like this so that the views can be, so this is the views, what you get over here. So which will be seen. So these are the three views which will be commonly taken in the case of CT imaging. So this will be helpful while scrolling out, because when you are going to imaging an object, a structure, so we'll be going on with transaxial along with the sagittal, so that you can able to locate it where the, suppose if the lesion is here over, so this can be seen at which side. Suppose the lesion is here, you can able to compare over here, and you can able to again compare over at what depth it is there. So this is commonly the CT is used to plan for chemotherapy or in case of radiotherapy. So where the depth is, where you can able to locate it. Then next number 3 is the terminology. Other terminologies is how you are going to interpret the lesions. Like if it's going to be a whiter or brighter structures, which is going to see it in the screen, it is hyperdense. We call it as hyperdense or hyper attenuating structure that is seen in the X-ray. Or if it's going to be a darker one or blacker one, then we call it as hypodense or hyper attenuating structures. And if it's going to be a gray shades, so it is again like a X-ray only. So the different shades will be seen. So like how the bones, metals, like that. So isodense is a gray, then which can be seen as more of the structures are seen will be a. The other thing is how we are going to acquire the image. We have different windows. One is bone window and the other one is lung window. So if it is bone window, there will be more mineralization, where the factors will be higher. If it's going to be a lung window, since the air is there, the factors will be lesser. Then again, soft tissue or abdominal window, where you can have the soft tissue. and abdomen. So we can have to, which will increase the conspicity of the abdomen organs. So actually we go with the Hounsfield unit. So we have other one is the window width and the window length, window level. So if you are going to see a structure, if I'm going to take and say, for example, if I'm going to take a lung, thoracic X-ray. So the thing is, if you are going to see that, I'll be taking a thing. So I'll be keeping the width as 500 and the window level at 39. So if I am going to, if the Hounsfield unit, what you are going to get is minus 211 and 289 Hounsfield unit. So plus to minus. So if you are going to see this one, the Hounsfield units, the air or the gas or the lungs, it comes from the minus 100, minus 1000. And the normal lung is 700. If I am going to take for a metastic, med checkup for this one, the med checkup is always, you can see the calcification. So where you can able to, you need, if you are going to keep it on the negative side, then you can't get the hard mass. So it goes that, so we need to take the hard mass also, because the calcified mass are the smallest structure in the lung. So where we have the window width and window level, that also has to be adjusted. So that if you are going to use in the abdomen, where you have a lot of soft tissue, then you don't need a lot of minus. So where we go for 500, 0. So 0 means from the 0 it goes to 500. So where you can see only the hard tissue or soft tissue. Okay, so here you can able to see here the gas goes from the 700 to minus 700 Hounsfield unit. The fat ranges from 90 to 100. Suppose the example is, if you are going to see here, so you can see a blacker structure. So which is around, so you can see here is minus 22 Hounsfield. So you can say that if it's going to be minus 22, it ranges or it goes with the air or gaseous structures. Okay, so this is a case of esophageal dilatation, where you can able to see the dilatation of the thing in the contrast. So you can able to click on over that and see this minus 122 Hounsfield unit. So it consists of air in the esophagus. So that you can able to diagnose it as esophageal dilatation. And if it's going to be soft tissue, it is 50 to 70 Hounsfield unit. And if it's a pleural effusion, any liquid, it will be around 30 Hounsfield unit. And hemorrhage, since there will be hemoglobin is there will be increased concentration, which leads to an increased HU unit, that is Hounsfield unit. If you are going to take a CT and if you are going to just click on over that and you are going to see it. The mineral and the bone, we go to 100 to 1000, it goes from 100 to 1000 Hounsfield unit. So the density grades like this. So from the air, minus 1000, it goes to 1000 plus 1000 to the so plus 1000 over here. So this is the bone, this one, and so from air it goes to the fat. The fat is minus 100. It is going to be 100 to minus 100, 0 to 100, minus 100. This is this one, and it's a brain window. So it's a brain one. So it's up to 0 to 40. You can see the brain structures, and if it's going to be a blood, so you can see the clot here because of hemoglobin is there. You will see an increased concentration. We call it as hyperattenuation structure seen on the brain. Okay, on the brainy soft tissue. So this we can able to diagnose it as a thing, and if it's going to be a bone structure, mineral, you can able to see it over here. So which goes for 1000 Hounsfield units. So next is the positioning. How we are going to position. So this is always while taking CT for any of soft tissue structures, especially if you are going to be a spine, then you can put it on ventrodorsal view. But if you are going to take a soft tissue structure, either thorax or abdomen, so it should be placed on the sternal recumbency. The mouth should be kept open, so that and this one. So this is the positioning for a horse. What we have done in the while training. So this had a lesion over here in the maxilla. So where the overgrown or cross molars are there. So where we put it as in a dorsoventral view for taking the skull X-rays. Okay, so why you are going to position it? So the position is again, so if you are going to position it in the dorsoventral or sternal view, so there will be the lungs will be expanded, so there won't be compression of the lungs, and the vessels will be very clear, and also the abdomen, the soft tissue, the organs will be settled down, so the spine will not be pushed. So the vascular structure, the overlapping of the structures will not be seen if you are going to put it on the this one. And also, if you are going to go for radiotherapy planning, we need to put it on a lateral rectums, which are the side, because the probes will be coming on the sides. If you are going to go for radiotherapy, so where we need to position the animal in lateral rectums. So this is a common indications where you can go for the nasal sinus, where it is rhinitis. You can able to diagnose whether it's a rhinitis or it's a fungal or tumor. If it's going to be a rhinitis, there will be sloughing of the turbinates, commonly seen in case of rhinitis or chronic rhinitis. If it's going to be a tumor, you can able to see a focal distinct mass over the nasal sinus turbinates. Then if it's going to be a diffuse one, if it's going to be a simple rhinitis, it will be there will be fluid and exudate will be there. Then soft tissue and skeletal muscles and inner ear, you can able to see the bulla very clearly, whether there is medial infection of the middle ear, and you can able to see, in case of sculpture traumas, you can able to see, and elbows. This is very well seen in the MCP medial coronary process, the fragmentation, and you can see the herniation. And this is commonly used in case of metastatic checkup and also post evaluation of the therapy, chemotherapy, or you can go for radiotherapy. Then you can able to see the masses, and you can able to see the pituitary, and you can see the ureter. So this is a case of example. So where you have this dog came with a history of blinking of eye with circulating. So you can see what you can. So you can see some hyper attenuating structures along with the fluid over here. You can see the different densities, and also, so why it should have a blindness and why should it have a circling? So you can see the difference over here. So here, if you are going to see here, you can see the brain skull or the thing is being pushed up. So this is a granuloma. It's a bilateral polycythemic granuloma of the lateral ventricles. This is diagnosed as the polycythemic granuloma of the lateral ventricles, and secondary to obstructive hydrocephalus, like impingement. So this is the optic nerve. It's a contrast structure, the optic nerve. So it impinges over the optic nerve, which leads to the circling and also blindness. So this is the case what we have seen there. So this is the other view. This is the sagittal view where you can able to see on the sides, and this is the dorsal view, or where you can able to see over here. The skull is placed over here on the dorsal view from the top to bottom, where we are going to slice it, and this is the thing. Again, so this one, this is the right side and the left side. You can see the granuloma over here, and this is the hypoattenuating structure, or the fluid is here, the hydrocephalus. So here you can see the impingement over here. You can see the bulging over here, which causes the problem. Okay. So this is the other one, is the nasal tumor. So you can see the nasal tumor here, which is getting occluded here. So you can see the lift, and you will see this. So this is occluded. So this is occluded, so leading to diffuse or rhinitis. So mass of the caudal nasal part on the left side, enhancing tissue, is seen over here. And this same dog has got a tympanic bulla. So this one, left tympanic, you can see the small polyp over here. So this is the bulla, which is seen very clearly over here. You can see the thyroid glands over here. You can see the nodes over here, maxillary nodes. And this is the ET, the tube, and this is the thing over here. The other nasal tumor, where you can see the symmetrical. It is as both sides you have a symmetrical, and you can see the turbinates, the lysis of the turbinates, or the through the nasal cavity. There is a mucosal thickening is also seen over here. So it's a bilateral. So you can see the turbinates get lysis over here. It's a case. This happens in case of chronic laminate. As I said earlier, it's going to be simple rhinitis. There will be diffuse exudate, and there will be sinus fluid will be there. And if it's going to be fungal, there will be sloughing of turbinates. You can't see the turbinates over here. There will be sloughing, and if it's a tumor, it will be always a polyp-like structure. So this is diagnosed as a bilateral. This is diagnosed as a chronic rhinitis. So this is the one. So it's a chronic bilateral rhinitis, where you can see both the structures. The back slides you can see. So you can see the lysis of this one. You can very well see the lysis of the structures. It's a bilateral this one. And along with that, so this is the other structure with the otitis media. Can you see this one? So this is the ear. If you are going to slide over this is sagittal, and this is the transaxial, where you can able to see this one. And this is a case of carotid body tumor. It's a hemodectoma, or otherwise called paraganglioma. So this is occurs at the bifurcation of the carotid artery. So the carotid artery runs over here, and it branches into smaller arteries or the vessels. So it commonly occurs over there. So this is the one, sagittal. So this is the one which is seen on the left side, on the left carotid artery, which is seen as a thing. You can able to see the mass over here, the hyperattenuating structure, which is seen as a carotid body tumor. So this is the same carotid body tumor. So you can see the scrolling of this one, the carotid branches over here, that you can able to see as a mass over here. So this is over the axilla. And this is the basic hyoid bone tumor. So whereas again is the osteoma, you can see the calcification of this one. So this is the structure, the calcification, you can see that one. So here the dog is reported with the hardness, okay, or with the swelling over here, so which is being diagnosed as a basic hyoid bone tumor. This is a parotid gland lymphadenopathy. So this is the scrolling, you can able to see over here. And this is the one you can able to see over here. This is a parotid gland lymphadenopathy, which is so. So this is the images what I shown is like that, but if you are going to scroll it, you can able to see the structures over here. There's a bilateral parotid gland adenopathy. So just in the CT, you need to necessarily scroll down and see what are the structures being there. So I just again play for you. So here, just scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Over this one, you can see the enlarged parotid glands, and we'll see this. So actually, you can slice it over this one, and you can able to see if you are going to go and slowly it disappears if you are going to go caudally. And this is a parathyroid over here, the thyroid, and they have the parathyroid gland, which is again swelling over here. And this is over the thyroid. You can see the thyroid over here. There's an enlargement. You can see it in the video. So you can, it's very well appreciated over the. So just scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. So you'll be scrolling down. So these are the parotids over here. You can see the parotid glands, and still go down because it will be over and slowly you can see this glands. So this is the parotid gland, over here. So which gets comparatively, if you are going to see this is get enlarged and it is get hyper attenuated structure or hyper dense structure over here. So we need to scroll down so that you can able to visualize. So the learning curve is depends on your one. So again, so here you can able to see this structure over here. Just scroll it down and able to see that. And this is the other video I can able to see. Okay, so if we are going to scroll over here, so this is the trachea, hole over here. Just scroll down. So there is a status over here. So this is the first. While in the previous slides, I have shown that esophageal dilatation. So where you can able to see it over here. So this is minus 22. The air is over there.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, the videos are not playing.
Video is not playing.
No, sir.
Is it playing now?
No, sir.
No. The other videos played?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'll just roll on with this one. So I'll just make it on the last one. If you,
Yeah, sure. No worries.
yeah. So I'll just finish the slide. So the indication of CT of the thorax is it can be able to diagnose pathological and ultrasound if it's not going to be diagnosed with radiology ultrasound. And tumoral staging on diagnosis at what stage because the lymph nodes being involved. And you can go for interventional radiology or you can go for biopsy and post-treatment and follow-up treatment is commonly used. So these are the three structures what you can able to see. So bronchial pattern is very well seen in this one. So this is a bronchi. The bronchi are getting inflamed. Then you can see the alveolar pattern where you can able to see the alveolus being. This is the bronchoalveolar pattern or interstitial pattern where you can able to see the whole structure being here. With this. And this one, the contrast studies, we can able to visualize the heart as well as the aorta, and this is the arterial phase. This is the without contrast. You have the arterial phase. This is the portal phase, and you have the caudal. This is the venous phase. So if you just scroll down, so this one is you can see the filling up of the heart, and slowly the caudal vena cava is filling, and slowly we can able to see the portal vein is get filled up. So this is the portal vein. Getting this one, the portal vein get filled up. So this is the aorta, and you have the caudal vena cava over here. This is the caudal vena cava. This is the portal vein. This is the caudal vena cava, and this is the aorta. So if there is going to be any vascular portal systemic shunt and all, we can able to diagnose with the contrast studies of the thoracic cavity, or if you want to study on the heart, the angiogram, then we can able to go with the intravenous contrast agent and able to diagnose conditions. So this is some of the thoracic, this one where you can able to see the mediastinal mass over here, and here you can able to measure it. This is mediastinal mass which is measured over here for this one. It's a large multilobular, partially cavitarial, cranial in the caudal mediastinal mass with lymphoid nucleus. So this is the video. The video seems like it is not playing, but it is shown that it is playing over here. But I'll try that to just show it over here. Then is it?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So I'll just quit it. Okay, next is this is the mediastinal mass over here. This is the cranial mediastinal mass. So where you are scrolling, so you can able to see over here, and over caudally, this is the intrathoracic mass. What you can able to see in the dorsal plane. This is dorsal view, and here is the transax. You can able to see the structure over here, and here you can able to see the this is pneumothorax. You can see the air over here, and you can see the collapse of the left side of the lung. It's a caudal part of the lobe, caudal lobe. You can see. So how I can say is caudal is, if I am scrolling here, it is on the caudal part. So this should be a caudal, this one. So where you can able to diagnose the caudal lobe as get involved with the pneumothorax. And this one is a bilateral. You can able to see over here. This is the dorsal plane over here. You can see the collapse of the lungs. It's a bilateral collapse of the lungs seen over here. And this is again this complete collapse of the lungs, atelectasis of the lungs bilaterally. This is of air we can able to see over here. So this is the case of pneumothorax again, and this is the pneumoperitoneum, the air over there, and you can see the perfusion over here as of this one. So here you can able to see the pericardial effusion. That is so very well seen in the thing. It's a pericardial effusion. You can able to see over here. This video is not playing, so I just go to the next one, the abdomen. So this is the diagnosis. You can also on the tumor staging. So again, so from there you can able to see the caudal vena cava, the posterior structure, the caudal abdomen. You can see the right adrenal gland. It is the right adrenal gland is located to the lateral side of the dorso. This is caudal vena cava. Can you able to see this caudal vena cava? This is aorta. So this is the kidney. This is the right kidney. So this is the right adrenal gland. So any adrenal gland tumor or mass can be felt or seen over the dorsolateral border of the thing. And here is a portal vein, and here you have the caudal vena cava over here. You can able to see over. So here this is the right. This is the left. This one adrenal gland. So the left adrenal gland is located on the bifurcation of the renal artery and the renal vein, left renal artery and the left renal vein. So this is the portal vein. So this is the portal vein. You can see on the down. So this is the right adrenal, and you have the left adrenal glands. So this one is very well seen in the CT. If you are not going to see it in ultrasound, it is seen well, but still, if you are not going to get it in the ultrasound, we can able to go with the CT image. So left renal artery and the vein, where this is the artery and the vein, and in between that, before the bifurcation, we can able to see the left adrenal gland. Okay, so here the left artery and the vein. So this is the right adrenal over here. You can able to see this is the caudal vena cava. This is the portal vein, and this is the aorta. So this is dorsolateral border. You can able to see the right adrenal gland, right this one. See how the lymph nodes, right renal lymph nodes. So this is the right renal artery, right renal lymph node. Next is the caudal branches of the lymph nodes. So the common what we see is the medial iliac lymph nodes, because mostly in case of metastasis we could able to see the involvement of the medial iliac lymph nodes where it is swelling, which is commonly not seen in, even if you are going to do a ultrasound scan, it is not seen since it is located on the ventral dorsal to the lumbar spines. So this is the medial iliac lymph nodes or the aorta. You can able to see the lymph nodes. This one. So lymph nodes. So internal iliac artery and the external iliac artery. So cranial to that one, you can able to visualize the iliac lymph nodes. This is a portal vein. This is splenic, and in some cases we'll be seeing other splenic nodes and the hepatic nodes. Again, we're going to scroll over here. So see the portal vein. This is the vena cava. and you have the aorta. And if you're going to scroll down the left kidney below that, you can able to find the hepatic nodes. So these nodes are important. So whenever you are going to have a liver tumor, you need to find or check for any lymphatic nodal enlargement, or it is going to be splenic nodal enlargement, or renal nodes. So next is the pancreas, where it is again pancreatic tumors or insulinoma is very common in the pancreas. So where it is located? So if you are going to trace the portal vein, so this is a portal vein, and as you get that, this is the stomach, where you have the duodenum runs over here. So it starts over here. This is a portal vein, pancreatic vein. So over this, you can able to see the. So this is the. So this structure is the pancreas. You can able to see very well now here, which has got a pancreatic, and you have the vein over here. This is the portal vein here. The pancreas over here. You can see the duodenum running over. So still, this is the vein, the pancreas. This is very well seen. So we need to slowly scroll down. See, so in this structure, you can able to see the hepatic nodes, the portal vein. So it just stays over the portal vein and the vena cava, and if you are going to see the node, and you can able to this structure will be the duodenum visualized very clear. This is celiac artery. This one. So next we will go with the esophagus and stomach. So here we see the insulinoma. So these are the different phases. This is pre-contrast, and this is the arterial phase. This one is a portal vein. See the pancreas. This is the caudal vena cava, and here again this is a portal phase. This one and the caudal vena cava. Okay, caudal vena cava is here. You see the insulinoma over here. So this is the case of hydroperitoneum. This one. So you can see the perforation with the fluid-filled structure. So here you can able to see the fluid, and here we can see the hemoabdomen, a slightly structure, and here the borders, the stomach borders, as you seen in the previous this one, the stomach border. This is a clear stomach border, isn't it? You can able to see that border very clearly. But if you are going to see here, the stomach border is not clear. So this is a case of stomach perforation because of any ulcers, because this is a history of the fed with non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, which leads to bowel perforation, leading to hemoabdomen and hydroperitoneum. Over here, this is hydroperitoneum. How you can able to differentiate is the heme is more, so you can see this, the heme will be more hyper intense, and if it is going to be a water, it will be less intense comparatively. This again, this is a soft tissue, and you can see the hemoabdomen over here. So hemoperitoneum. So you can see the gaseous structures over here, and you can see the heme mixed with the same case. There is a hepatic mass over here. You can able to see it very clearly. The heterogeneous here over here. Here you can able to see the very well bigger structure. There is a hepatic tumor over here, and this one is the splenic mass. Same case. Need to slide down. This is the spleen. You can able to see it over here. And along with that one, you have a cyst over here in the right kidney. This is the right kidney. So here the right kidney is not seen. The kidney is not seen since the cursor is over here. So only we are scanning this part. So this slice is being seen here as a mass in the splenic mass. So once you are going to consider it, slice that one, we can able to see the splenic cyst also. So this is right kidney. Cyst over the right kidney. You can't be able to find it over here in this slice, but in the transaxia, in the sagittal, we can able to see this one, the hypodense area. You can able to see over here is a mass on the right kidney, which is not seen with the. And this is again This one scrolling over here, the left kidney, and you can able to see the mass. Once you scroll down back on this one, you will see that. The case of the gallbladder stone over here is a calcified stones, like a pearl was seen on the. So this one is a hepatomegaly over here, and here you can able to see the right adrenal mass over here, and you have see the nephrolith. Can able to see the hyper attenuated structure over here. So this is nephrolith of the right kidney. So right kidney nephrolith with the liver tumor, and you have the adrenal mass over here. The adrenal gland is enlarged comparatively. This is the right adrenal mass. Again, you can able to see it over here. So this is the scrolling. This is the one. You can able to see it over here. This is, as I said, the pancreatic tumor. Okay, here. So this is the aorta. This is the vena cava, and here you have the portal vein, and you can able to see the pancreatic tumor. This is over here. So here, this is without contrast. This is with contrast, and you can able to appreciate a very clear structure of pancreatic tumor. So here, this is on the other side. This is on the sagittal plane. This is seen over here, and this one. So that's what we need to take both the views. This is pre-contrast. This is post-contrast, where you can able to appreciate the thing. And this is on the sagittal, and this is transaxial. So this the cursor is being here. So I can able to tell this is the region where the pancreas is here, and which get a hyperattenuated structure. It's aorta, vena cava, and you have the duodenum. This one, where this is the colon, this is the stomach over here. And this case had come for lipoma, and they are planned for radiotherapy. So where you can able to see the fatty vacuum over here. So how we can able to this HU is less than 0. If it's going to be a soft hard tissue, there will be hyperattenuation or soft tissue mass. So with this, with the structure, we can able to tell whether it's a fatty tumor or just a lipoma, or it is a soft tissue tumor. If it's going to be a transparent or a hypodense structure, then we can able to diagnose it as lipoma. So the treatment protocol will be varying for the lipoma as well as if it's going to be a soft tissue tumor. So they can able to differentiate it with this one, whether it's a lipoma or a soft tissue tumor. So next is the photosystemic shunt, where you go for this is very common in the hereditary condition seen in the dogs and cats. So where we go for contrast. So initially we take the contrast study, the arterial phase and the venous phase. Then we'll be taking a delayed phase. After 30 seconds, the portal phase will be taken. So the contrast agents will be 0.55 ml per kg. Once you give the contrast, then you locate the T12. So once you locate the T12, then from the T12 you give the contrast. You inject the contrast and see and take the things. Okay. So example is, so here the pre-contrast, you can see the portal vein. One. This is the portal phase, the vena cava, and you have the portal vein over here. One, the structure. Here, this is the aorta, this is the caudal vena cava, this is the portal vein. So what is this photosystemic shunt is? So without going into the liver for intoxication, this just get into the vena cava and goes to the circulation. So there will be shunting of the blood from without getting into the liver, goes into the vena cava and drains into the thing. So that leads to the intoxication or condition. So this is the persistent. This one I can see. So the video is not playing. I'll just show you. So this is the case of this is the late phase where you can able to see the photosystemic shunt. So if you are going to see the contrast agent in the later phase, the portal vein, then you can able to tell after if it's going to occur after 30 seconds, if it's going to still persist, then we can tell it is a case of portosystemic shunt. This is the way we can able to diagnose a case of portosystemic shunt. And here we can see the intra-abdominal mass. This is a case of calcification over here, metastasis over here, intrathoracic mass, metastatic mass, and here your calcification of the prostatic enlargement with the calcification, which is hyperactivating structures. Then you have this is a case of lymphoma. It's an intra-abdominal mass, as you can see in the visual structure. So the video is not playing. So if it is playing, then so I'll just go out. So I think the video is not playing. So I think I can close with this. So this is the intrapelvic mass. You can able to measure this one. If you can scroll this, you can measure the mass. This is the pelvis, and measure this one. And here is it's an extra, it's a subcutaneous mass. Again, it's a lipoma. You can able to see 115 on-scale unit. So with this, I can able to tell it's a fat tumor or it's a lipoma. It is not inside it's not getting into the body. So you can see structure here, the spine. This is the extra abdominal. So again, it is an extra abdominal mass. As you can able to see it over here. And this one. And this is the case I told you, the equine. So this one is a mandible over here. So you can see the teeth over degrown or deformed teeth. So this case actually comes with a drain over the below the mandible on this one. Right? When we took a CT, we can able to see the disorientation of the molar teeth. Let me see this one. So I acknowledge our university, my university TANMAS, for sending me or providing this opportunity to go for a training, and also I thank the faculties of Department of Radiology, Washington State University, Pullman, USA, for providing us training on the CT for the 3 weeks, where we enjoyed the things. And if you want to have any queries, you can just go to drapvet@yahoo.co.in, and my mobile is over here. You can very well contact me at my email. Thank you. I will try to play the videos if possible. I'll just try it over here. You can't see the video, sir. The video is not seen.
No, sir.
Oh.
No, sir.
So just a minute, I will. Hello. Video play பண்ணுங்க சார். Video play ஆகுதா? So here the CT it is not a single slide what you are going to see like in case of X-rays. So you need to scroll down to see the structures. So once if you are going to see a video, then you can able to appreciate it, how it goes, because we can able to appreciate 2 mm met in the thoracic cavity. If you are going to, from 2 mm, but if you are going to see an X-ray, we can able to, if it should be a 6 to 7, 9 mm, minimum of 6 to 9 mm, which is visualized in the X-ray. But if you are going to use the CT, we can able to see very well the MET, which is less than 1 to 2 mm, the size of 1 to 2 mm, which is very well appreciated in the thing. So how you can able to say whether there is metastatic or not? So here I had the video, but which is not playing. So if you are going to scroll down, if it's be a metastatic or this one, it will not join to the vessels. The vessels, you can see small spots in the vessels. So which may join. So small vessels, it may join together. If you are going to scroll cranial or caudal, the vessels, the small rounds will get merged to form a vessel. Whereas if it's going to be a metastatic, a small spot, if you are going to scroll down, it will just disappear. So you take a thoracic CT and you scroll, if the spot or 2 mm spot or 3 mm is just disappearing for the next slide or next slice, then you can tell surely it's a case of metastasis. The smaller one. Bigger one you can able to visualize even in the X-ray or very easily you can able to do that. But in the CT, this is very common where we use this one. And also the brain CT is again commonly used because the MRI is comparatively harder than this one. So where for any intracranial lesions, they go for CT studies for any hemorrhages or this one. So the CT, it's an apt time where we need to just get into the advanced modalities. So where we need to go to the CT and MRI. So as of now, India has established the CT centers over here in few of the colleges, and I expect our team, or I request our team, surgical team. So why can't we go for MRI? So which will be again. But the thing is, it is a costlier affair, and it needs a lot of investment comparative to the CT. So I am just waiting for the video to play.
PET CT for metastasis, PET CT is also another window.
Yeah, PET CT is a positive. This is where you can go for administration of this one, dyes, and where you can able to visualize. So if you are going to see it in without this one itself, if it's not seen, then we can go for PET CT, where you can able to give the dyes and you can see whether you can use the glucose, high glucose, or where they commonly use it for PET CT. It's so unfortunate that I could not able to play the video because the metastasis is, if you are going to scroll, you can see the this disappearance of the this one, and again the masses. The abdominal mass, what I shown is only 9 mm mass, which is seen in the abdomen. So once you scroll down, you can able to see that, and you can able to measure it. So what size it is. So which we may miss in the ultrasound also sometimes. So where you can able to see it in the CT, the intra-abdominal masses or metastasis in the intra-abdomen, you can able to very well visualize in the CT cell. So a lot of contrast they use this one, so where you can able to see the vascular structures, and even for cardiac angio, we use the dyes. And with what we have a 16 slice machine, we can able to see use the machine. So commonly what they use is 125 slices for angiogram, cardiac angiogram. And in humans, 64 slices they use for common procedures. And in veterinary we are having a 60. And for angio we need to have 125 slices. And the contrast agents they use is IOXR. This 2 to 2.5 ml per kg body weight, which is given intravenously over a bolus shot. Then you scan for the things. Yes, sir.
We will start question answer session.
Yeah. So by the time we'll go on with the question answer. Suppose I call for.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, we will start the question answer session.
Yeah. Yes.
Dr. Aman Umri is asking, while pursuing the animal inside, how would it stand? Stand, won't try to jump up, or do something we have to give the sedative to the animal while we
Yeah.
are performing the CT?
Yeah, just a minute, sir. I am just that video. Just
Yes.
a minute. Backside. So that's what initially I said. This CT in the animals should be taken under sedation, deep sedation. So commonly used bupropion and dexmedetomidine. And here, or you can go with xylazine and ketamine, because I said in the first slide itself, the breathing will be slower if you are going to deeply sedate it. So the movement of the organ also will be reduced if you are going to sedate that. So without sedation or deep sedation or anesthesia, you cannot take CT. So it should be done under deep sedation or with anesthesia. It's okay?
Thank you, sir. Another question from Dr. Mandal. Except fat animals, whether other small domestic animals CT scanning for disease diagnosis is economically feasible?
Yeah, we are doing it in patient cats on this one. So commonly the pineal gland tumors are common in cats. So where we go for CT of the gun, and also we go for CT of abdomen of the exotic species like which is brought over here. And I have a slide of the tortoise where we scan for this one. So we can take lot of that catches. We can able to go. So you can from the back we can able to see the deposit where you can able to do the. So up to the patient, which is around 1.5 feet, or this one we can able to do with the CT. So you can able to see over here on the back. This is an aperture where you can able to move a patient which is big enough. So the slide what I shown for the horse is we can able to move the horse head into this, where we can able to scan the head of the horse. And for limbs, there we only doing the limbs. So with this diaphragm, you can able to take skull as well as the limb of equines. But you cannot take a whole body scan of a large animals. And if you are going to go for domestic animals like sheep and goat, you can able to do with this CT machine with the diaphragm of this size. Is it okay, sir? Is it?
Sir,
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
another question, sir. How to distinguish between pneumothorax and pneumomediastinum in CT scan?
That is, I showed that, no? So, pneumothorax, which will be seen on the sides. The mediastinum is the space between the two lungs. So, where you can able to see more space between the lungs, and you can see able to see the atelectasis of the lungs also it is, because it pushes over here, and the lung is being collapsed. So, this is seen as a case of the mediastinum is being black compared to the sides.
Sir, any online short-term PG diploma course on the topic of diagnostic imaging is available in Tanuvas?
We are planning to do that, but it's a policy decision which will be done by the university. We are given the proposal, so probably they have to decide on that.
Thus, Tanuvas provides training on CT imaging for willing veterinary doctors, or any study material or material related to CT is available from Tanuvas to other universities?
Yeah, we are running a project on networking this one with the diagnostic imaging with the 5 of our colleges, constituent colleges. So we are planning to have already we had a training in Bikani. So here also we are going to have a plan training for the CT. So once we materialize that, we'll send a communication to you. Since 4 of the people have been trained abroad in the CT from our institute, So probably that will be useful to disseminate our knowledge, transmit our knowledge, knowledge translation to our fraternity. So surely we will be doing it very soon, either under the ANP project or through our university. I think SAR will be knowing, so secretary will be materializing the things. So probably we'll do it very early, soon.
Yes. So that's all in the answer session. And
yes, sir. I will try for a video. I'll try for a
yes,
video.
sir. Yes.
Slide la. அந்த ஸ்லைட்ல வீடியோ இருக்கு லிங்க் பண்ணி Is it sharing? Hello? So the video is sharing?
No, no,
No, sir.
No. Okay. So, but here it is running. I can able to see the black of the.
Yes, we can see.
Now it's running, sir.
It is coming.
Now it's running. So yeah. So this is the thyroid gland tumor over here. Okay. So you scroll here. So parotid here, the thyroid. Can you able to see this one? This is the thyroid gland tumor. So once if you are going to scroll it over, you can see the slices over. Then you can able to diagnose the case of tumors. Okay, so I'll play the next also for you. So here you can able to see this is a gastric esophageal dilatation. Able to see. So how I can able to tell it's a esophageal dilatation? This is a sagittal plane, and this is the transaxial plane. So here the trachea and esophagus, and see this opening slowly. So now I bring the Hounsfield unit here. So it is minus 122. As I said, the minus up to 100 is air. The air gives. So there is a esophageal dilatation. The esophagus is filled with air, which gives this 120 or 100 HU. Okay. So this is scrolling over here. Okay. So this is the esophageal opening. So this is esophageal opening. So if I am going to scroll this one, so I can this slice is seen over the transaxial here. This one seen over is as this. Okay. Next for axial kilo. So this is a caudal mass. Can you see this video, sir?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes,
So
sir.
here,
Yeah.
this is a carina, caudal to the carina. So you can able to see on this is the transaxial. So this is the cranial part, the caudal part of the thing. So I need to measure this. I can measure it is over 4 centimeters. That is 43 mm. The back of the carina. So this is the mass. So I just scroll over here, and I can able to see some of the mass over here. So this one, the lower part. Here also you can able to see the fluid over here. It's seen because of the metastasis structure. See. This is 43 mm. It is 4 centimeter mass which is seen. Next. So this is the one I said about how you can able to diagnose the metastasis. So you see this one, this disappears. If you just scroll. And if you see this one, it goes and joins. So see. So this is disappearing. See, this is joining. See, this is disappearing. This one, but these things will rejoin. If you see here, see this is bifurcated. So this one is a metastatic lesion. So again here, so if it's going to join with the vessel, if you are going to scroll down, it joins with the vessel. If the vessel is there, then it joins. But in case of metastasis, once you are going to just scroll, it will get disappear. Example, this one. So this disappears. Whereas here, it is separating from here. Okay. So that's the thing where you can see that. Next. So this is a case of photosystemic shunt. So now this is the later phase. This is the aorta, this one. So here, so delayed phase. If you are going to see the contrast agent in the one, then we can able to tell it is a photocaval shunt. Sorry, photosystemic shunt. See over here, it's a delayed emptying. This is a vena cava. This is a portal vein. So there is communication between the portal vein and the so here. So it's a right kidney, then the left kidney. So this is the lymphoma. As I said in the other thing where I have shown the picture. So now I am measuring the things, and I will be seeing whether it's a soft tissue or the lipoma. And the Hounsfield unit. So this is around 5 mm, 5 centimeters. So 56 mm. So which will be around 5 centimeters. So you can able to measure with the CT, and I am just taking over the Hounsfield unit to check whether it's a case of. So this is 66H. So it's not a lipoma; it's a case of soft tissue tumor, where you can able to see the 60 Hounsfield unit. Okay. Okay, sir. So with this, I conclude. I have some more pictures, but I don't want to take your time. So I conclude with this. Thank you. Okay.
Sir, few more questions are there.
Okay.
How can we differentiate blood clot, infarction, or necrosis in a brain part?
So that's what the hemoglobin has got a higher specific gravity comparative to this one. So if you are going to see the fat has got a lesser specific gravity. So that's why the fat floats on the water, isn't it? The water has got a higher specific gravity. So the air, then the fat which comes, then the water, then the necrosis tissue, the hemoglobin is higher concentration. So it will be more hyper attenuated than the case of necrotic tissues. So by that we can able to visualize that. So or you can take the Hounsfield unit. You just click over there and see what is the Hounsfield unit over. That's the advantage of CT. If you don't know what is that, you just click on the Hounsfield unit, you see the measurement, the value, then you can able to tell whether it's a soft tissue or the lipoma or any of this, or calcification. It's going to be calcified, you will get a more HU. Okay.
Sir, what are the adverse effects on the animal body when we are using the CT on repeatedly?
Yeah, that's right. So we don't use repeated CT as such because the one CT will give all the details. Number one, as I said, it equals to if I'm going to take a thorax, it is equal to 350 X-rays, one CT of thorax, and abdomen is 450. But no other go. Since we want to diagnose the things, we need to put the even the humans. You may ask me why they're taking human CT, but it's a life value, which is more value than the uh, uh, adverse effect of the radiation.
And so last question, among CT and MRI, which will give the more diagnostic value for diagnosis of brain tumor? It will be
Brain
more
tumor.
reliable.
Yeah, if it's going to be a soft tissue involvement or some necrosis or lysis, so there is MRI will be playing a very, very vital role. And if it's going to be a hematoma or something, so you can very well, that CT will be ideal. And also it involves the cost. So first they go for CT to see there is, it is a hemorrhage or this one. Then they go for MRI. Check for.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the nice
Thank you.
presentation.
Yeah.
As a CT is in infancy stage in our country, but now it is gaining a popularity.
Yes.
So on behalf of Indian Society for Veterinary Surgery, I would like to thank Dr. A. Arun Prasad, Resident Veterinary Officer and Head, Resident Veterinary Services Section, Madras Veterinary College, Tanuvas, Chennai, for devoting his valuable time and delivering such a wonderful and interesting webinar on the emerging diagnostic imaging tool CT. I extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Simrat Sagar Singh, President ISVS, Dr. D.B. Patil, Sir, Executive Secretary ISVS, my webinar team, Dr. Nitin Bhatia, INTAS, Animal Health, Dr. Nilesh Sindhu, and Dr. Devesh for constant support, hard work, and devotion and motivation for making this ISVS webinar a success. I am also thankful to all the participants, executive members of ISVS, and members for participation in this webinar. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Namaste.